Hello to everybody. I am so fortunate, Patrick Nugent with IICLE, to be here with two really true legends in the Chicago area. Terry Hake is in internal investigations with the Cook County Sheriff's Office, and he was with the FBI. But prior to that, Terry was the main instrument in the Greylord corruption scandal back in the 1970s. And without Terry, there probably wouldn't have been 103 different people indicted and sent to jail, judges, lawyers, courtroom personnel, et cetera, because Terry played the role as the main undercover person for the government in the FBI in that particular case. Thank you, Terry.
Thank you, Patrick.
And then I've got, of course, John Drummond, who everybody knows, legendary for his journalistic skills in crime here in Chicago. He's the Bulldog, and I'm here with the Bulldog and Terry to talk a little bit about Illinois corruption, the culture of it, and hopefully a little bit about what went on in Greylord, how that affected you in your life, Terry, what you knew about that during your time starting off here in Chicago as a journalist as well, John. So, Terry, we'll start with you first. This had to be a life-changing experience for you.
Absolutely, Patrick. I'm still living it today. I gave a presentation this morning on law enforcement ethics and tying it into Greylord.
When you made that decision, you were just a young man. That must have been a really complex, difficult situation for you to be in.
Well, it was and it wasn't. As you said, I was a young man, so in that regard, it wasn't too hard of a decision. I wasn't married. I didn't have any children. I was 28 years old, living at home with my parents in the northwest suburbs of Chicago. So it sounded kind of exciting. I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg, but I was kind of in a perfect place and at a perfect time in my life, too, in that I had applied for the FBI. I had an application in. So when they found me, I was the perfect candidate in this perfect storm.
John, let's talk a little bit about, you were here in Chicago when the Greylord was breaking, and you were mentioning some things about how it was kind of groundbreaking, even what you were doing in television in those days.
That's correct. Going back to that period, in the 70s, of course, there was lots of rumors that there was corruption in the judicial system. That had gone back, that goes back to the 20s probably. I can recall one case where an individual I knew was charged with drunken driving. And he told me that he needed to get out of it because I think it was his third charge, but he said it was good. He went to a lawyer, an experienced lawyer. He said, it'll cost you $1,000 to fix it. That was the type of culture, the type of people that took that for granted. That's how you did business in Cook County. And these rumors have continued to exist. And of course, the story started to leak. It was broken in 1981 when there was some of the stations covered it, the newspapers started leaking it. And then finally, in December 1983, the indictments came down. And this is a very major news story. This is a time, of course, December is normally not a big news month, but that was a blockbuster. The question was what judges are going to be indicted, who's next, and so on and so forth. How far did the corruption go? Was it just down in traffic court? Did it go up what they call the fourth floor at the 26 and Cal where the felony cases were being? These are some of the questions that were being asked at that time, and they soon were being answered. I recall talking to a veteran defense attorney, a well-known criminal lawyer who's now deceased, at the 26 in California. He said, Drummond, something big's coming down. He said, they're going to crack down on a lot of judges. He said he had already talked about there was corruption down there, and of course this time it's for real. There was always these rumors, but a lot of people couldn't believe how big this was. There could be that many judges on the take. It was very hard to believe.
Right. But, Terry, could you believe that? I mean, one of the reasons I'm sure you made this move, and as John said, what a fantastically brave move it was, but it was because you really couldn't tolerate what you saw that was going on.
Right. I first made my complaint after working in the murder, rape, and child molestation courtroom at 26 in California. Branch 66 is the name of it. It's still there to this day. And in that courtroom, all the murders, rapes, and child molestations from the entire city of Chicago are heard at the preliminary hearing level. And in those days, there were 700-800 murders a year in Chicago. And the rumor in that courtroom was that the judge's bailiff, Lucius Robinson, sat in the jury box during a preliminary hearing. That was the signal to the judge, Maurice Pompey. They're both dead now, so I can mention their names. That was a signal to Judge Pompey that Lucius had received the money from the defense attorney, and Pompey could throw the murder, rape, or child molestation case out. Well, it was a great story. But they didn't have to go to those extremes. But there's no doubt in my mind that they were fixing cases. Yeah, Greylord is still considered one of the FBI's most successful undercover cases. and most successful public corruption cases to this day.
And you were the undercover man. So
man.
you are the legendary Terry Hake. There's no doubt about that.
I was the man. As a matter of fact, I want to thank Director Mueller, the current director of the FBI. Those 2.5 years where I worked as a contract employee of the FBI, in 2008, he gave me law enforcement credit for that time, which allowed me to retire earlier, which was nice of him.
Too young to I certainly was.
Well, I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, Terry's still working for us, even though we're not paying him anything. I want to tell you, we are doing a course for ICL, which is a fantastic course coming up in August. It's also a very family-friendly CLE. There's going to be a private party on Friday night at the Abraham Lincoln Museum. It's going to be open to everybody, and there's going to be a dinner full hors d'oeuvres. We're going to be honoring John, and we're going to be honoring Tony Raccuglia for special events at ICL. The next day, we're going to do the CLE course, which is on Illinois corruption, politics, and the law. Terry is our keynote faculty member here, being the FBI key mole, and probably the only mole for the unbelievable Greylord case back in the 1970s here in Chicago. But we're going to try to carry the conversation through from Greylord all the way up to what happened to Gaboyevich. So that's going to be on August the 19th and August the 20th in Springfield, Illinois. Come, bring your family, meet Terry in person. Hopefully I'm going to get John down too. We're not sure about his schedule, but ladies and gentlemen, I just want to thank these two unbelievable men, John Drummond and Terry Hake, and I want to thank him for coming on and interviewing with me today and everything you've done for ICL. Not only that, though, everything you've done for the state of Illinois, the city of Chicago, and the nation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Patrick.
Right, Terry. Good luck to you.